Hey, this is me. About a year ago. In September 2019, I started the most life-changing journey I have ever done. And I want to tell you all about it. I want to give you advices, I want to give you tips, how this dude turned into that guy within 1 year. This is a video of the Toronto waterfront when you took a water taxi shortly before I destinated. I arrived in Toronto and I left from Toronto. Toronto is an amazing town, one of the biggest cities I have ever seen, and the biggest city I have ever lived in. It is amazing, it has an awesome vibe, and people are way friendlier than in German big cities. So about me. I'm 22 years old now, and after my apprenticeship as a carpenter, I decided to do a work and holiday abroad. First I wanted to do America, but as this wasn't available anymore, I decided to go to Canada. One of the best choices I've ever made. To be honest, before I started my journey, I didn't know anything about Canada. Not even who's the Prime Minister, or how anything works. So I had a long visa application process. It took me forever because I failed the first time. It was my own bad. But in the end, everything turned out fine, and in September, I was ready to go. I just finished my apprenticeship, I said goodbye to everybody, I packed my stuff, and coming from a small town, I was not ready for Toronto. But here we go. I put some pictures in this video, just to show you as much as possible. I tried to keep it up with the videos to make it more visual, but I want to give you some information. So this was one of the first images I ever took when I got my SIN, my social insurance number, which you can see over here, and my void check from the bank. Those are the two things beside a work permit you need to get work. Everything is in English and French at the same time because they have two languages in that country. And ready, set up, I was just chilling in the town for the first few days. Seeing the graffiti alley, meeting some friends at the hostel I hung out with, and just walking around, getting to know town. The second day in Toronto, and I've already been to the waterfront, and of course the CN Tower. I didn't want to stay in Toronto for long, I just had to do it to set everything up with my agency. But coming from a town in Germany with 30,000 people, this was way too big for me, and the culture shock was even worse. The view from the CN Tower was amazing though, and we went there shortly before the sunset. It was totally worth it. It's about $40, which is 25 euros. Some people thought it was too expensive, but I think those pictures are definitely worth to see. You have an amazing view over the entire city. The second day I went to ROM, the Ontario Art Gallery, where there was a mirror room and even an art piece from Germany. But pretty much all they think about is that Germany has been divided, and I don't know, I think it's not up to date anymore. You can see some footage from the CN Tower. I just filmed walking around. If you ever make it to Toronto, please go up there. On a good weather day, the view is so amazing. It's the highest tower, I think. I've been to the Calgary Tower as well. But now, let's head right into it. I want to sketch out for you how I traveled over the year, and you will see I traveled a lot. Arriving in Toronto, the first destination was Montreal. I did that because the TIF didn't allow me to rent a hotel or hostel in Toronto. Everything was full. After 5 days I came back already and came to Muskoka, where I worked on a golf course. Working in Toronto for the winter Christmas market, and then spending Christmas and New Year's Eve in Philadelphia because I have friends over there. They went to New York with me, and I visited another friend in Washington, D.C. Flying back to Toronto, And going back to the golf course, because I also wanted to see it in winter, I decided to book a train ticket. I bought the ticket on Black Friday, so I got a super good deal on it. And took the train all the way to Winnipeg. That was my first destination and the first city outside of Ontario. From Winnipeg, I went on to Jasper, where I planned on going to Prince Rupert, which is one of the... I don't know why I wanted to go there. It is the most western point of the train journey. But the trip was cancelled and I was stuck in Jasper. For some technical issues, of course. Going back to Edmonton and then to Calgary, I made my way to Banff, where I finally found work again after my train trip. Going back and forth, and then getting stuck in quarantine. After quarantine, or during quarantine, I decided to buy a car, to drive all the way to Winnipeg. That took me 10 days. I did it on my own. I was social distancing. And yeah, it was a great experience camping in the back of my car. Driving from Winnipeg all the way back to Banff and then to Kamloops, Kelowna and finally Vancouver was one of the nicest trips I've ever done. Vancouver was amazing, but I really wanted to see Tofino before I leave. So I saw that and then drove all the way back to Tofino to Calgary, where I sold my car and met up with friends again. I took a plane from Calgary to Toronto, where I stayed for another week before I took my plane home. The entire video will be recorded with an external microphone. The reason why is shown here. Hey. There you go. Ich mache das jetzt mal auf Deutsch. Ihr hört mich hier nicht, weil es so windig ist. Ich glaube, ich habe heute Nacht 4 Stunden meine Tasche gefilmt. Ich hatte hier gestern in diesem geilen Hostel die Möglichkeit, alle meine Akkus mal aufzuladen. Yes, at the beginning I recorded my videos in German. This is in Montreal. You can see the HI Montreal in the back, which is a really nice hostel. One of the best ones HI has to offer. And I didn't look for jobs in Montreal because I don't speak French. Most of the population does. It is really beautiful. But I was looking for accommodations in Toronto. I already had a job. The first day I was on a job hunt. I got offered a job in a cafe as a barista. And before I found accommodation in Toronto, my agency contacted me and told me they would have a job on a golf course 3 hours north of Toronto. The golf course offered accommodation, and that's why I took this one first. I had more time to look for somewhere to stay in Toronto. But the cafe still offered me to come back when I have the end of the season on the golf course. Yeah, there will be a short clip me talking English so you can see how my English was in the beginning, and then I will tell you more about what jobs I did overall. Whew. Yes, Montreal is big. They're building stuff everywhere, you see that. And it's nice, it's clean, people are friendly, but they are French. It's important for you to know that I had some work experience back in Germany already as a barkeeper, barista and carpenter. So I got the job offered as greenkeeper. That is something everybody can do, and those are jobs you can get with your agency. The barista job I only got because I had experience. I also worked as a waiter. This is an agency in Toronto. They work together with the Work&Holiday agency. It's called The Butler Did It. You can look it up online and you will help out on big events to serve food. My Work&Holiday agency, by the way, did a really amazing job. They help you all over Canada online, and they have their office in Vancouver and Toronto. And before COVID, we were always welcome. They helped us a lot. I can totally recommend them. Look them up. swap.ca is it online. My other job was a housekeeper in Banff. That was by far the worst job. It's a tough job, and yeah, you don't get a lot of money, you don't get tips, you don't get much tips. You can get tips as a housekeeper, but I would think about it. Was the only thing in Banff I could get though. Also, I worked as a line cook. I worked 60 hours in Banff just to get some cash in, and in Vancouver in the end I did my profession, working as a carpenter. So this is a shot from the Montreal Old Town. Montreal is so beautiful. It is modern but still has a lot of culture. And I think, yeah, this is back in Toronto. Back in Toronto, I just bought some stuff to work as a greenkeeper. I had to buy my own safety boots. I had to buy work pants. And, oh yeah, this is Toronto Yonge and Dundas Square. An amazing square. It is called the Times Square of Toronto, or the Times Square of Canada. This is the road trip, or yeah, I got picked up by a car who drove me to the golf course. I really fell in love with the nature, and this is the machine house of the golf course. It was amazing over there. Toronto was way too big for me at the beginning, and working in the nature, having all this around me, you cannot see anything similar in Germany. It is really amazing. The golf course also had a hotel with it, and I most of the time took care of that. So you work 40 hours a week. If you want, you work a little bit more. You drive around in those cars. You do lawn mowing, leaf blowing, pick up garbage and branches. It's a really chill job, and yeah. On the golf course itself, we had to do the bunkers with cars like this, and that was a really nice experience. I came back to the golf course twice because I really got along with the people over there as well, and I don't regret it at all. It was a little bit remote, but many young people in the hotel, they had their own gym, what is really important to me. So I could work out after work when I felt like it. So the hotel kitchen cooked for us, and overall, this experience was just amazing. The colleagues told me so much about Canada that I got my first few opinions about it, and it helped me a lot to settle in this country. I also met a friend, you will see her in the next picture. Her name is Holly, and we met online. She showed me around the entire area. We just had a really nice time together, and we're still in contact. That was one of many friendships I gained over this year. As we were also allowed to play golf, we went on the driving range and practiced a little bit. I played golf once before, so it was really nice as one of our colleagues took us and gave us some advices outside on a round of golf, which we finished up with pizza. And Canadians can make some decent pizza. It's really not like America. I worked at a wedding. They just needed one more person, and I had some serving experience, so that was a nice thing to get into. The first wedding I've ever served on, and you can see the later it gets, the colors of the leaves change. It is so amazing. Many tourists just come for this change in color to Muskoka. That's the name of this area. It is really beautiful. So if you want to work with this awesome team right down the Rock Golf Course, they are always happy to have some motivated workers. Oh, I just had a really nice time up there. At the end of the season, I decided to go back to Toronto. I figured out an accommodation close to my workplace. I lived right downtown in an Airbnb. That was a really helpful experience. The first time I did not have a single room. This was the cafe, Wildly Delicious in Distillery District, one of the most tourist places in Toronto. They had the Christmas market, and they say it's a German Christmas market. Coming from Germany, I can say it is not, but you do a good job still. This was the barista machine I worked with, and this is Distillery District itself. A really old, literally, distillery district. It was nice to work there, and I met more friends. I met more people in Toronto. I had colleagues and roommates. I felt more comfortable now with the big city, and it was still overwhelming, but I got along way better than in the beginning because now I was used to the culture and it was just a big city, not two shocks at one time. Yeah, it also smelled really amazing because we had a restaurant in the same building, so I also sold the food. It is a concept that is pretty unique. Having bacon smell at work, oh, yeah, I can highly recommend that. That was one of the first time it snowed in Toronto. That was the first Canadian snow I've experienced. And here is Yonge and Dundas Square again. I bought my iPhone 11 Pro. I switched from an iPhone 6. So the quality is now getting better and better in those photos and videos I've been taking, which gives you a better quality to enjoy it more. So lean back and let's switch through another couple pictures. Yeah, in Canada, alcohol is way more expensive. Here's just one receipt of many. For 0.2 liters of mulled wine, they pay $10. I've visited the Niagara Falls, which isn't as beautiful as many people think. This is an Austrian traveler and another German traveler. We traveled with a group. You can organize that all online. It's a 2-hour bus ride from Toronto. We went up the tower, so we had a better view on the waterfall. This is the other side, so it's a city right next to Niagara Falls. And that's how it looks from above. On the left hand side you can see America. What comes next? It is really touristy. They have so many tourist attractions, casinos. You may have heard that somebody else, but in case you didn't know yet, don't expect a nice waterfall. They have many of them in Canada, but Niagara Falls isn't one of them. But they had a light show and a firework. I think it was every Saturday evening during winter. And yeah, since 2019, weed is legal in Canada, not in the USA, not in New York. No, I think it is, yeah, it is New York State. Right after Niagara Falls, I went to a club with my roommates. I had a good night there and spent over $120 just on drinks and entrance fee. But I had my own bottle on the toilet giving me the paper towels. So it was a pretty fancy club. After that one was called Toy Box, I decided never go clubbing again. But over the time I found out that there's other clubs with different music, less fancy and way more affordable. So yeah, the clubbing scene in Toronto isn't that bad. This is Nathan Phillips Square. They have a ice skating circuit where you can have rental skates. I would highly recommend that if you're in Toronto during the winter times, so you don't have to buy your own skates, and it's still a really nice place to skate. And something you should definitely try while you're in Canada is egg throwing. So I've been to this one. It is called Bad Eggs. It's in northern Toronto. You have to drive there. It's a little bit of a drive, but it was a lot of fun, and it is a really nice thing to do in the evening with some friends. I miss German bakeries a lot. They don't have normal bakeries. Donuts and other pastries are more their thing. So you buy your bread at the supermarket. This is a shot of Toronto waterfront at Rebels, where I worked for a Christmas occasion with the butler did it. A big bank celebrated the Christmas party at that club, and yeah, I helped out serving. So it was around 5 hours of work, and at night the waterfront looks even better. If you have money and want to go clubbing in Rebel, do it. Otherwise, at least go there for the view. Just a quick side fact, I got my ears pierced in Toronto. I did it at Adrenaline. That's a chain that exists all over Canada, and I can highly recommend them. In Vancouver, I got my maple leaf tattoo also from the same store. Yeah, here's just some more pictures of the city. I stayed in the city for around 6 weeks, I think. From beginning of November until Christmas, and then on the 24th I took a bus to America, where I got picked up in Philadelphia. I had to take a bus to New York first, so here's an amazing shot of the New York skyline while the sun rises. In 2017, we had an exchange student from Pennsylvania, and we became friends with his family. So last year when we visited New York, we also met up with them. And when they offered me to host me during the Christmas time, it was a really nice offer and I couldn't say no. So we celebrated Christmas together on the 25th, my first real American Christmas. And they live in a little town close to Philadelphia. Coming out of Toronto, it was amazing how quiet nature is. But we also went to New York, which was really nice to be there with an American family. And I didn't feel as touristy anymore. I hated to feel as a tourist somewhere. I really like to embrace the entire mentality and see the city as people who live there see it. This is a shot from the Brooklyn Bridge, and we also went to the 9/11 monument, which you can see in the next shop. We have been in New York for 3 days, and we did a bunch of stuff in the city, going to nice restaurants, having a drink here and there, going to this amazing place, which is a Starbucks Reserve Roastery, a really big Starbucks store. It was amazing. After we came home, we had a huge New Year's Eve party. This is all his friends and me. His friends also became my friends over the time. We all get along really well. And if you wonder who's he, that's Ben. My host brother. He's the son of the family who has lived with me as well in Germany. And yeah, that was the last time I drank alcohol. I decided to quit alcohol. That was a long decision and I wanted to do it after Canada, but as it is so expensive in Canada and I just felt like it, I decided to quit at the beginning of 2020. In the new year, we started the year totally right. On the 1st of January, we already went snowboarding. It was amazing, even though it wasn't a lot of snow. His town where he lives has also Longwood Gardens, which has a Christmas setup. Those are real trees. This is not on a table. This is a massive show. Yeah, hanging out, and then after being with them for 2 weeks, I went to Washington, D.C., where I also have a friend. He has lived with my best friend when he did a student's exchange to Germany. He's from Mexico and now lives with his uncle in Washington, D.C., or lived with him for a while. And he doesn't actually live in D.C., but in Virginia, and it's still the area of D.C., so we went there a lot of times. And even though I already knew the city, it was amazing to be back there. This is Georgetown University, by the way, Ben's university. He goes to college in DC. And yeah, we went to a bunch of museums. I saw more stuff than the last time I've been to DC with my parents. And it is a super nice city. It is modern. It has a lot of money, of course, because it's the capital of the United States. This is Virginia. This is right after the border, so this is not in DC anymore. And as his uncle allowed me to stay with them, I invited them for a dinner, and his sons were really excited to get pizza. So yeah, I really appreciate all the connections I gained over the last couple of years, so all of this was possible. We went on the Washington Monument. It didn't open too long ago, so those are the first few shots that were able to be taken from there. And we visited a bunch of museums before I then went back to Toronto to start the second chapter of my journey, for which I will upload another video. I hope you enjoy all of this so far. I want to do this as detailed as possible. So feel free to skip if it is too much information, but I don't want to leave anything behind. Thank you very much and enjoy your day.